Namaste, good morning to everyone. So, welcome to our 22nd episode of the Qualitist show. This one is our second one this month to make up for the lapse that we had, in the sense that make up for the number of shows, the number of months we've been running the show. So, you know that we've been doing this more than close to 2 years now, and we interview a qualitist, normally level 3 qualitist, every month. So this month we have another guest, and we're very sure, just like what we had last time, Mr. Naresh, you would enjoy this episode as well. So let me bring in my partner in crime, who's been with me for all these episodes, Anshuman Tiwari. So, Anshuman, uh, good morning to
Hey,
you. Our 22nd episode and the second one this month to make up for what we're going
yeah,
for
yeah,
a show a
that's
month.
okay. But almost 2 years is now going, and we
Yeah, two
initially thought,
years.
Balaji, that we will probably do this for a few weeks or months,
I
but it
know.
has the reception has been very good. So those who are watching it live, our grateful, we are grateful that for your patronage and support. Those, of course, who will watch it later, we continue to remain grateful. And yeah, that's about it. We can see that this show is live on our guest Praveen's LinkedIn page as well as Balaji's LinkedIn page as well. And of course,
Yeah,
it
that's
is on.
something new this time,
Yeah,
yes.
that is the new feature. So, what my request to people who are joining in from Praveen and Balaji's page, LinkedIn profile, request is to subscribe to Kimpro's YouTube channel as well, because there is more such content and more such quality professionals, and more to learn on those that channel. During the show, I will post the comment on the address, but it is easy to find. Please go to YouTube, search for Qimpro TV, Qimpro TV, and you should be able to find it. Okay, with that, Balaji, we are set to start the show, and like always,
Absolutely.
we have the you know um, qualitist of the month, or distinguished qualitist of the month, as our guest today, and a known face. Those who are on LinkedIn and have been around will know the name Praveen Arora. He is currently head of quality management at Bhrati Foundation and has been a quality professional for many years. So I've known him for a long time. Has been in senior positions in other companies as well. And over his long career, I think one thing that has stood out, Balaji, and I will bring in Praveen in a bit,
Hmm.
but is that almost all the organizations that he has worked for, he has been able to help them get some national or international level awards, right? Which is a hallmark of
Wow.
a professional who is focused on excellence. So that is something that stands out for Praveen. Of course, like all distinguished quality professionals, he is sound on quality principles and application, and has worked for the Birla Group, other Six Sigma awards as well, and CIA national level award for lean deployment in service industry, many such things, and certified lean uh, and quality leader, and also was recognized as leadership with a purpose award in 2018. This is important because quality professionals getting a leadership with a purpose award is important in 2018. So he's of course a BE from Bhopal, and later on did his MBA in HR. So that is interesting.
Oh,
Quality, yeah, quality professional with uh, MBA in HR. And I will use this moment to bring Praveen. Praveen ji, namaste. And a little bit more I will add before Praveen. I'll invite you to speak a little bit in your opening comments. But he's just to make sure that we all understand his quality background as well. He's a Six Sigma Master Black Belt, certified Operational Excellence Assessor from IMC RBNQA, CIA Business Excellence Assessor, Z Master Trainer. Z is the Quality Council of India's program for small scale or
that's
medium and small scale industries, and many other similar I would say credentials, including ESCM and COPC professionals. So highly accomplished professional. Uh, Praveen, welcome to the show. And any opening comments from you?
Good morning, Jai Hind, everyone. So I'm honored to be here to interact with my learned friend Anshuman and Sri Balaji. So universe have been nice. So 25-year experience. I will try to share some of my moments of truth, some scenarios that I've come across, and my thoughts are colored by some of the role models, industry leaders, like who coached me over a period of time. And being Saturday morning, I'm so thankful to all the audience who could make time for it, and of course, Anshuman Balaji for this session here. Thank you. Look forward to.
Sure, thank you. Very, very nice of you, Praveen. And just as you said that, people who've been able to join, just a quick reminder that the show remains a recording on YouTube as well. So those who want to catch up later or want to share it with friends and colleagues can do so later as well. Okay, so let's dive into the show. And this is a Q&A kind of a show, Praveen. As you know, you've seen some of these shows earlier. But for the audience, I can remind that you can ask in your questions. You can write in your questions now itself. And during the discussion, we will bring in your questions. So that's the format. And the more tougher the question, the better, because then we can trouble Praveen a little bit more, right? This is for Balaji and me. This is sometimes a ragging session as well, so we will do that. Hmm?
So I hope I
So
will have an
Yeah, no
option of
wonder.
pass.
no option to pass. There is no other speaker. We are the examiners. uh, but no, that is only in jest, Praveen. But we completely honor and respect your time and acceptance for this. And the whole purpose of this whole program, of course, and Balaji and I have been pushing this for some time, is that we want the term qualitist to be a little bit more popular across the quality professional industry. We are a profession which is highly critical to any industry, but we don't have a name. Right? Architects have a name, doctors have a name, everybody else, professors have a name for the profession, right? But our profession, in spite of being required deeply by the industry, uh, does not have a name. So, Qualitist is the name that Dr. Juran had proposed, and in his honor, we try to do what we can, and we will continue to try and do what we can and see where it lands in our lifetime. Okay, so I will get started with the questions with Balaji's permission, uh, and this is something that we normally want the qualitist to of the month to share his or her journey, and that's where we ask this question that you are a distinguished qualitist today, right? You are a quality professional of repute today. Surely this is not how it started, right? So what was your early career like? How did you stumble into quality? What led to, some, for some people it is a choice, some people it is an accident, some people it is serendipity, some people it's something else. What is your story about landing into quality, and how did it further progress? And eventually, since we all are disciples of Mr. Lura as well, how did you come across him, and what are some of these stories? So over to you, Praveen.
Sure. Thank you, Anshuman. So I'll throw some light on my life, right, where it started, and definitely how I started the journey of quality, met Dr. Lula, right? So, okay, I come from a middle class business family, and from a B town, not much aware of the career options. Luckily, landed into the NIT, fortunate to come across leaders who helped me navigate this journey to where I am today. So to start with, like, okay, when I joined Aditya Birla Group after the uh, completing my engineering, first year of a graduate engineering training program that happens, and after 6 months we are assigned a department, right? We get a choice, like being an electrical engineer, the natural choice was being an electrical engineer, right? Either in a power plant or in the cement plant. But we were thinking there was a position which came up in quality systems, and My first role model, Sir Ratan Shah, was a president at that time, and occasionally we would kind of meet up in a club, or probably he would just come in where the GTs were sitting and probably give us some knowledge, etc. So we asked him that, okay, what is quality system? Because it was not in radar. We didn't knew anything about quality system. Our education system doesn't talk about this function altogether. And one thing what Mr. Shah said that time that struck me, he said to me and in fact all the GETs, he said make a career in a field which will have exponential demand over a period of time, and there will be talent shortage of a leadership for a certain period, right? That time when Six Sigma, nobody knew Lean. Lean was quite nascent in terms of an implementation in India. Quality systems meant world-class manufacturing practices, ISO, and environment management system, right? And this struck me. I said, okay, why not? Let's take an opportunity, and that's how I landed up into the quality systems. And this was, if I'm not wrong, 1999, while when I'm completing my first year. So over a period of 3 years, got to learn. Then got an opportunity. A new unit was coming up, Grasim South, where we wanted to start WCM, highly automated plant, beautiful plant. If you walk in, you'll now realize that this is a cement plant. So got an opportunity to start WCM in that unit, which was quite early for a 3 year young engineer at that time, right? I'm happy. So within first 6 month challenge was thrown that can we bring it to maturity, because there used to be a chairman's award and the first evaluation was kind of scheduled in 6 months, and we were kind of starting from scratch. So happy we could achieve something. Later started WCM at one of a St. Gobin's unit, and then moved into the service industry. So being with the investment banking, financial services, and that's where got an opportunity to build a quality assurance model for the investment bank, and travel globally, trying to deploy that into the various geography in UK, US, where we had the center, and then later Singapore and other places. So well accepted model. Then the lean deployment, some of the unique practices from lean that we picked up, cherry picked for the service, and later got appreciated. Like Anshuman, you said the CIL level award against the best of the companies. Right, the award is not that important at that stage, but then yeah, there was an acceptance, and then there was a forum where we could share, and of course there were a lot of replications after that happened. And I was into consulting after that, and now with the associated with the education. So overall, if I look back, right, first 7 years were formative years where I learned world-class manufacturing concepts, had a sound base, and which helped replicate into various industries. And like you said, being an MBA in HR, we could relate as a function. We work with the people rather than machines or computers, right? And the people are all same across the industry. So that's something is a short journey that bring us where we are today.
No, thank you, Praveen. Fantastic journey. And before Balaji has his question, you reminded me of Mr. Ratan Shah and his illustrious father, B.L. Shah, as well. I have worked very closely with Ratan Shah ji quite a bit during my Qimpro days. So thank you for this memory. So I would love to find a way to get in touch with him again. But fantastic person, very fantastic coach without being a coach. He could bring it, and a tough man as well. So
Yeah.
good lessons with him. Balaji, over to you.
Yeah, Mr. Arora, I mean, I'm a professor. I teach quality management and teach it to the marketing students, to operations management students, as well as HR students. And I keep saying this, that the people who end up implementing what I teach is mostly from the operations management. And then I say the HR, and people don't get to actually believe me, but you proved it today. because marketing, learning about quality and implementing quality is a plus for them. It's a great thing for them. They always have a greater insight. But HR and operations are the people who implement, quality management. And I think people watching the show, especially if some of my HR students watching, would definitely now, perk their ears up because I keep saying this. That and I think you're a good example to give. So since you said you've been in this field for 25 years now, uh, I mean, how have you seen this profession, grow over the years? When you came inside, you said it was mostly about standardization, and then slowly, I think you must have been exposed to the broader and deeper aspects of it, especially the human aspects of it, getting work done through people. But where do you think our profession is headed now? I mean, what has it come to now, and where do you think it's headed in the future? What do you think? How do you think the quality profession is going to grow from?
So Balaji, first, I missed a chance to be a student to learn quality at the university days, right? But I think a very relevant question that where are we heading, right? And probably what is keeping this alive, and then what is keeping the momentum high, right? So a few things. If I have to reflect back into my experience, and then I'll talk about that. Okay, what next? So when we are associated with this function, and this function is not always called quality. If you look at like 2 decades ago, there used to be only quality, right? And the impression quality used to get was a quality control. And then with the Duran trilogy came in, the shift started, the quality assurance started becoming stronger. Then the quality improvement, which was a kind of the campaign in itself to how do we actually kickstart that. There was in various excellence model, there was a pillars which were created to encourage the committees started forming, right? And that was an era which later led to the concepts like Lean Six Sigma coming in, and the base was already there, and the methodologies is something that the professionals started adopting, teaching, coaching, right? And there was a foundation which was set in. Now, how did this momentum take, I will say, the pace, or probably how did it expand it horizon? It was owning some of the business problems. And like I was hearing to Dr. Zula last time, and he said one thing, that there should be a qualitist in the boardroom, in the management, in the leadership, right? Without that, the sustenance of an organization becomes a question mark, right? So there were some such qualities, right? Where that time the tag of qualitist was not there, but then like you said, Mr. Shah, like there were many others, and I'll refer to some of the role models who I came across while I was just a drop of water in an ocean, but then sometime a color drop can change the color of a jar. So I think JAR is an organization. So the attempt had been in a similar fashion. So I'll give you some of the challenges which kept the momentum live, right? So we are GTs, right? We were laughing around, sitting in a library. It's a kind of like in colleges, we have a free period. So as a graduate engineer trainee, we're used to that, right? All of us used to gather together in a library and make laughter around the space. And that time somebody walks in. We were just kind of a month into the organization. Somebody walks in, and in manufacturing, we used to recognize people by the name of their helmets. And before we could read, the gentleman actually had removed the helmet and kept it on the next chair. And we were still laughing. Then he started looking at us, asked a few questions. And we didn't have an answer. He politely said that if I would have come for an interview, I would not have selected either of you. I said, okay, we are looking at each other with this gentleman at a fun time coming in and telling us. Then okay, then he put on his helmet. He was about to move, and we read Mr. Ratan Shah. All of us stood up. Oh my God, it's the president of the unit. So the depth started, the qualitist. Now, where does a qualitist factor comes in? Now, in that discussion, he asked two questions to us. And while leaving, he said, I know Many people don't have an answer to it, and your skill lies in finding a person who can answer it. So the first, the Qualitist starts with, right, know the domain, know the function that you're actually working in, right? The journey started, the first challenge started from there, which started motivating or giving a momentum to the entire journey. And from there, when we started the journey from scratch, moved on to the grind wheel again, the president, Mr. Nagaraju, was there. He said, Praveen, we need to bring in some difference. How do we do that? And the difference is not by being in a meeting room or influencing the head of an operations and kind of thing. The differences that comes from if a shop floor operator says, I understand quality, and you are able to solve the problem at a ground. I said, fair. So let me first understand the problem. Went to the production, had to understand what is your problem from the ground. He said, Praveen, I have one peculiar problem. There is a lot of machine stoppages. At the same time, there is a high level of a defect. That's fair. And we have a strong quality control. So things that are passing out is of good quality. But in a process, there are some rejects. Is that fair? I watched the machine on which we are making the wheel. And we found that, okay, operator would check the thickness after every few wheels. We'll find that, okay, thickness has gone out. He'll stop, tighten some bolts, again start the machine. Okay, it's not corrected, again tighten. Now it's right. He will again start and the cycle repeats. I asked him, what did you do? He said, sir, you don't know, you're a new young engineer, right? But then I'm operating this machine for years, and it happens after the machine runs for half an hour, 1 hour, there some alignment issue comes. Fair. I put in something called a control chart there. Said, can you just do me a favor? Whatever is the dimension, and after an hour or half an hour when you're testing, just can you mark it over here? There's some reluctance, then I spent some time over him. Didn't try to explain him the chart because that would be again going to a different direction. But then he said, okay, you look to be a nice gentleman. Okay, let me try what you're saying. He started marking, right? He said, see, sir, I told you that after half an hour this will go out. No, I'm stopping. I said, one request, can you please not stop the machine? I said, what are you saying, sir? I'm producing defect and you're asking me to continue to produce defect. I said, please. Okay, fair. The second wheel again a little loud. He said, see, sir, you are asking me to produce defect. I said, doesn't matter. Continue. The third wheel suddenly is within the specification. He starts, fourth wheel is within the specification. He said, I don't know, sir, what you are doing standing here. There's some magic happening. Every time, only after tightening the bolt, the wheel was coming in line, and now without tightening the bolt, you are doing something. But the cycle continued, the pattern control chart. I think most quality professionals know there is a natural capability of a machine. There is a variability which is there. The problem of stoppage is reduced, the production increased, right? But at the same time, the capability need to be improved. So it became a maintenance issue rather than an operator issue at a later time. And then there was an acceptance and probably the journey got started. So I think that was a base from where all of us have started the quality journey. There are a couple of more stories I will talk about. But to answer what Balaji said, that where are we actually moving? And the way I see the function, like every function goes through a transformation in a couple of years, at least in a decade. We have seen in past 3 decades of at least our experience near to 3 decades, right? What we used to do 2 decades ago, what we are doing today is very different. Similarly is the case with the quality journey that we go through. Within this decade, sometime I was part of a quality system, sometime business engineering, sometime transformation, sometime business process excellence, sometime quality management. There have been many names that, many tags that all of us have. Yeah, once also called black belt, master black belt as a designation itself, right? but the purpose, the core purpose was same, but the goals were different. Somewhere driving productivity, somewhere the quality control, somewhere the transformation in terms of solving the business problems, right? And sometimes larger on the controls kind of a thing, right? But today where we stand, the work is largely being dominated with the digitization that we have. The shop floor, which used to say let's improve something, now the stakeholder has suddenly started walking in and say, can we please automate this? The definition of or improvement automation, so they have become kind of a synonym to each other, right? And the other side of it, if we look at, there is a demand, there's a different nature of a demand which is coming in. Second side is the skills that we had operated till now, where we learn the quality, the basics of quality and an applied quality, I would say. But today, in place of a sample data, we have a large big data available to us, which require a little different skill to work on. The system where we used to see the things are moving, right? Today there's a black box phenomena. I'll give another example. When I say it's a black box phenomena, so I wanted to renew my insurance policy. I called up the insurance center. I want to renew that, and this says, you already have a login. You can log in, fill up the applications. Quick, it will happen. So we are now digital savvy. I said, oh, good. Very happy to hear that. I logged in, it asked for mobile number, put in the mobile number, said submit. It said, okay, enter the OTP. I never received an OTP. I called them again, said it's 3-4 attempts I've done, and I'm not receiving an OTP. Said, okay, maybe there's some temporary problem, because after 3 days again I called, I'm not getting an OTP. I said, sir, I don't know, there's some problem with your phone, can't help. I said, okay, can you just tell me which number the OTP is going to? Because one, I have a profile, a static profile, in which there is a mobile number. Second is I'm filling in an application, there it is a mobile number. Which number is that OTP going to? I look confused. I said, okay, good question. Let us come back. Another 5 days, nobody came back. They couldn't find where is the OTP getting kicked into, right? So black box phenomena and the persistence is one of the most critical metrics for an insurance, right? The renewal that we talk call as persistence in an insurance term, right? So black box phenomena, which is happening. And if we go back the basics where we used to start, in fact, ISO got painted into that, document the process. Then we said, okay, BPMS notations and the flow charts. And when you used to talk about the basics, we used to talk about capturing complexity, splits, decision points, so that we know what's happening into the process, right? Which has become all the more important today. But then I think somewhere the black boxes are still getting created. So there, one is an industry level challenge. Second is in terms of reskilling of inequality that we're talking about. Third is in terms of application of a basic quality, which I think need to come back to what Dr. Juran said at that point of a time, right? That can we look at how the things are supposed to be done? What are the basics around it? Is there enough control into the system to ensure the things are moving right? So I think multiple such phenomena is happening, and then probably I think I don't know if I'm close to Balaji what you had asked.
No,
I mean, definitely the whole concept of like you said, there's a lot of data available which we did not have. We did not have that luxury. But that's led to another problem. There's too much of data available and people don't know what to do with it. So you need to have some kind of a channelized and a focused approach. And I think quality, that part of quality will never go away. So because I remember Dr. Juran saying things like, what do you want to control? When the control plan, the entire thing, what do you want to control? People get into this when I teach the control chart, then they all get very enthusiastic. And then when they go for the internship, I get a phone call. I want to draw a control chart. For what? You need to know what you need to draw. What do you want to control? And then everything all builds from there. So what you're saying is absolutely, it makes a lot of sense that you have a lot of data. So what do you do to it?
It is
And
like
people really
Balaji.
had a loss there.
Balaji, it's also, you and I have discussed this earlier. Sometimes the tool is looking for a problem. So, that's a misfortune that many quality professionals have, that first find the
Yeah.
problem, define the problem, and then look for the tool that will hopefully help.
Just
Right.
recently, Suresh Lulla sir put that up, right? It's
Yeah,
the
correct.
problem that chooses the team. The team doesn't choose the problem.
Yeah, team,
Yeah.
tool, everything is starts when the problem is clear and
Yeah.
defined. Most of the time, we, mm, you know, think of the symptom and treat the symptom rather than the
Yes.
problem.
Problem. That's right.
But Praveen, sorry, two professorial kind of people in the call. This is what you get, right? So, Balaji is a bona fide professor. I am often accused to be an imposter professor, so I will.
So I am the student, so more happy to be there.
Okay, what I'll do is that Devraj is in the Devraj is a previous recipient of this Qualitist of the month, and he was on our show earlier. So thank you first of all, Devraj, for joining the show. When people like you join, of course, it increases the stature and the respect for the show. Thank you. The question Devraj is asking, which I am flashing on the screen, Praveen, for you, is. From your experience and the journey from manufacturing to service to education now, you have seen quality deployment occur. What is the one important skill, or what maybe skills that are helped that has helped you in adapting yourself? So yeah, so you've made quite a transition from manufacturing to service to now education, and it's a long journey, very adaptable. What are the skills that helped you adapt?
So I don't know if it is a skill, but to answer this, what I would say, what has helped in these scenarios is understanding the domain. That means learning where you are. Like we have been into the process where there were 22 different processes into 3 clients, into like 66 processes in within a one role of a quality where I was associated with the KPO BPO to the different industry, different processes. Right? One is in terms of understanding the process, being a quick learner, and second is owning up the business problem and a stretch goal. Well, I don't; these two are cannot be exactly called as a skill, but I'm taking the question that what has helped navigate and achieve something. I'll give you an example. The things that have challenged me and then helped me navigate. Being in an service industry, a challenge was thrown that can we achieve 40% productivity improvement in a span of 1 to 1.5 year, where the traditionally had been 8 to 10%, which meant going to the depth ground workshop, right? And we were already having a struggle in terms of getting more seats onto the ground, and 40% meant that okay, you can also accommodate 2 extra teams on the floor. Taking up that stretch goal in that particular scenario, had no choice, right? Once accepted a stretch goal, gone to the depth, worked on the ground with the operators, executives, senior executives, identified the relativity. I recall the movie Slumdog Millennial, right? I think many of all of us would have seen that, right? If you see there are questions being popped up, and what does the hero does, right? He goes back to his memory and said that okay, this thing happened at that point of a time, and so this is how this was addressed, right? The same thing across industry happens, right? I'll give you some of an example. Two teams working on the same floor, working on exactly the same process with a little different objective. I will just like a two English word, we talk about affirmations, confirmations. Right? In English, they are very close. They're not exactly the same, but they're close. Doing if you need to do that, a similar set of an activity that you do, and they both don't know what each other are doing. Two research executives sitting on a research desk researching the companies, right? To sales executives going to meet the client. So if we bring them together, the relativity, right? That what is common, and that's what we found that okay, one of our research analyst reports are appreciated, accepted more than the other, and it takes half time to build. There are some standardization templates, reusable parts, right? That's being put in over there, right? One of our sales executive is more effective because he's going and meeting the high net worth client and not meeting up with the client where he has a comfort or is close to the office, right? Same apply to the regional head, same applies to the cluster, same applies to every industry. Only thing is the finding out the relativity. So the relativity in operations, the relativity in terms of we talk about any kind of in a retail operation. If you look at you will find commonalities. That's the HR which helps what people do, right? The concept in the lean that we talk about DILO, right? DILO, right? What do I do, right? And then there is a cycle, right, where in any improvement cycle you say specific, generalize, find a general solution, and then go and do that a specific solution. That is a cycle, right? That with an experience, if I have to talk about the skill, probably that skill help relate the cross industry experience, owning up some of the stretch targets. If you talk about getting into the unique scenarios and then applying, like research was a unique, the sales excellence was a unique scenarios, right? But these are the skills which actually help, right?
No, that is fascinating. I think Praveen, last 5 minutes, I was listening intently because I've also made some switches in my career. So I've started somewhere else and moved around and industries as well as you can say sectors. And I could relate to what you're saying is that sometimes, like you said, it may not be a skill, but the temperament that you can understand the landscape quickly and what leads to what, that kind of a causal analysis is extremely important. And many
Yeah,
times when I now speak to people or coach people or I'm in a business situation, I find that the ability to look at the landscape, the entire landscape, understand what leads to what is extremely important for business people.
yeah,
Very often, and this is very true of quality professionals, that we look at the problem from only a quality point of view or only from an improvement point of view and not from sometimes a business point of view or other points that may exist. And Dr. Duran and Deming also, Dr. Deming also kept saying that th- there is a, like, Deming's profound knowledge system is also about from entire business chain. It is not about quality at all, or a narrow view of quality. They all of them saw quality as a business subject and not a limited subject. So thanks for that. Those who are watching this show now and will
hope
watch it
Devraj
later,
have answered your question.
Devraj will speak to you separately. But Balaji, I think there are some very good questions coming in. So let me take some
Oh, great.
questions, and
Okay.
we can always slip our
You,
own
you,
questions
you,
later
you
on.
know, yeah, you know what, Anshuman, I think this means that the show is reaching out to a lot more people.
Oh, absolutely. So, Sonu Prashar, maybe. What are some, and this is an HR question now. So, Praveen, what are some ways that HR can apply the principles of quality management to improve recruitment and retention of top management? Oh, Balaji, this is out of syllabus for us, so we will keep quiet. Uh, Praveen has now officially said that he is applying this to senior management, quality, education, and all this. So over to you. Thank you, Sonu, for putting our guest on the mat.
Thanks, Sonu. Thanks. I think a very, very, very relevant question. So I'll reflect on it's an open book, right? So Mr. Lula answered this in his last talk, where he said the quality of a leader, and he only spoke about one quality. I hope Balaji and Shivani remember that. So the only one quality that he said comes on the top is recognition. Is it recognition, right? That's an HR subject, right? So the first most important thing, we'll talk about the retention. And if we're talking about, I first talk about the retention, not only the top management, it applies to all grades or levels. So people, if you talk about Maslow need hierarchy also, in various ways, want to be part of something significant that is happening in the organization. After the basic physiological all needs are fulfilled, right? Now what next? I'm getting salary, I'm doing my work. I want to be part of something significant that is happening in the organization, where we are marching toward achieving the mission, vision, right? Am I part of a workshop? Am I part of a task force which is working on a significant strategic goal? That's the first level of recognition. Recognition doesn't mean a star award. Recognition doesn't mean just a clap on the floor. That recognition not always mean in terms of the higher increments and kind of a thing. Is everybody in an organization getting an opportunity to do something significant, or they have been told to just watch that something significant is happening? We'll let you know when you're required. Second, is the reward structure which is built aligned to the business goals or the business challenges? Are we rewarding a behavior which is giving a business outcome, or this has become a cycle which at a periodicity you just need to, in a sequence, most of many time if it goes in a sequence, it becomes a demotivator than a motivation. So the retention of a top management, first thing that comes, recognition, then recognition for team. The top management needs some amount, they are accountable for a result, and with that they need some amount of an autonomy. Is the culture allowing at that level of an autonomy for a top management to operate? Then can they take decision? If they can't take decision, they cannot drive goals. So what are the structures? Right? We say delegation of authority, which is defined within an organization. How is that delegation of an authority is defined? Is it that for everything you need to climb 10 stairs up and ask, can I do this? Does that motivate? Will the top management will ever be, there will be a retention, right? So some of the key thing that I understand. And when we talk about the quality of improving the recruitment, now the recruitment, there are two things that I think 10 years ago, I remember one of an example when we talk about the recruitment. The hiring was going on, the job descriptions shared, and the job description, and based on the job description, hiring also happened. And when we went to the manager, said, oh, you got your person? No, I have not got my person, right? I said, we gave you this physical body, right? I said, no, I wanted an apple, you've given me an orange. I said, but this is what you've asked. I said, how? No, this is not what I've asked. He said, look at the job description. This is the job description for the role that you're given. He said, gentlemen, this job description was designed 10 years ago when our processes, systems were very different than what it is today. I no longer need these skills. So the first basics, right? Basics of quality also, if we apply is the process for recruitment transparent enough for a recruiter to take, for a recruiting manager to know what's happening and what decisions that he or she need to take? Is the bank of the candidate that we have evaluated in past with their rating, is that repository available? Like we talk about in a purchase, do we have a vendor database, right? Do we have a master which talk about the database of a candidate that we have recruited? Because if we talk about a time somebody has rejected a candidate and maybe a valuable candidate for another role, is there that applicability that we are talking about, right? So the quality management talk about where it started, right? Interchangeable part. I go and relate it to somewhere there, right? At the beginning of a quality journey, right? And I think many of you would know that today we get a set of a box, right? And the cap can fit into either of 6 boxes, right? But there was an era where it was a craftsmanship, right? That every cover was kind of a design for a box and will not fix into anything. It was with largely for the arms, at that point of a time, when the World War began and there had to be a mass production. And that's where I said that can we have something called as interchangeable parts. The entire journey started, right? And today that's an obvious thing that we talk about, right? So today, do we have a profile which can be exposed to a multiple role? Do we have a data bank? Is there a timeline which is associated within which we take a decision? Is the job description which is right? Is there a follow through and a respect to a candidate who would, even if not selected, go back and refer and another candidate that is an excellent company has heard so many accolades about a company from a candidate who was not selected. He said, on my first interview or before the first interview, I was given 7 things which helped me challenge my own skills. So what is the construct? If I have to apply quality management principles to the recruitment process, right? What is the process? Is it transparent? Is it written? Is it known to everybody? What are the components? Key component, is that component vetted, reviewed within functional managers from a time to time? That is there a database which is getting created, which is reusable, that we don't have to go down and fish every time, but look at a database and pick something and then go move ahead into the cycle? I'm not talking about anything creative. I'm not talking about anything which is new, right? I'm talking about if those basic things are right, that comes the advanced. So probably we will talk about it, but the basics of the quality management, if I talk about, are these things, right? Which apparently may look right, but at least thousands of processes that we have studied, we have found there is some opportunity for an improvement. I'll not say they're bad, but I think they need to be looked at.
No, thanks, Praveen. I think very insightful to see your experience from multiple industries coming into an industry, completely new industry. But one core thing which I took from your explanation is also that eventually quality will be about planning what you will do, and then complying or controlling what you are doing, and then even finally improving it, right? So which is also the Durant trilogy or PDCA in other ways. So if we can apply this principle to anything that we do, not just recruitment, that is hopefully will give us a good start, and then we can build on that start. So thanks for that. Balaji, you want to ask the next one?
Yeah, I mean, given the kind of background that you come from, um, what do you think we need to do as quality professionals to improve the quality profession, that it becomes something that is desirable, if you know what I mean, as a profession? Anything that you, as an HR person, because you deal with that mostly, besides, of course, the technical aspects. So, what do we need to do to improve this as a profession?
I think the first thing that strikes the most critical part here is the commitment to, well, the role word would be a generic, but to the basics of quality, the principles of quality. And why I say that, all of us have paid a lot of cost for being there where we are. The quality is also a journey where I think in every cycle you have that change curve, right? We'll say denial, acceptance, and then probably the cost that we have paid created a cycle, accepted part, right? Brought it to a maturity and then move forward, right? And now if in this cycle, if that commitment to that basic principle is missing, then the black box phenomena that I was talking about, that keep happening. I'll share a short story when I talk about the cost, right? At least my personal story.
Sure.
Not others' story will not be very different. Most of us have become what do you call banjare? What do you call nomads?
No, nomad. Yeah.
Right?
Nomads, right? So I was 16-year boy when I actually left my hometown after 10th for a better exposure, travel states, travel countries, and we where we are, like there is only, I will say, the family is now become the extended family, I would mean, right? They cherish our presence, but our absence no longer matters. It's a big thing I'm saying, right? We have traveled 1,000 kilometers away, right? They're used to living without us. Where the presence get cherished, but the absence doesn't matter, right? And only one song that I remember, which come repeatedly come to my mind when I'm traveling, say, "तुम तो ठहरे परदेसी, सुबह पहली गाड़ी से घर को लौट जाओगे." And I tell you the fact, right? Last time I met my mother, right? She said, "Beta, come close. Sit with me." I said, "Kya hua, mummy?" I said, "I don't know when again you will go 1,000 kilometer far. So at least sit close to me." So but when that song says, right, "Ghar ko laut jaoge," if you ask me, there's no ghar, right? And the only other song that I remember is "Duniya mein rehna hai to." That Raj Kapoor song, right? What was that? "Kaam kar pyare," right? "Haath jod sabko salam kar pyare, khel koi naya subah sham kar pyare." Now it's like "खेल कोई नया सुबह शाम कर प्यारे." Now how does that apply to us? It is about the campaigns and initiatives. When you talked about the quality is about campaign and initiative. The quality is about disturbing the momentum and taking it to next level for maturity. So what is the campaign or the initiative that we have started in our last 3 year, 4 year, 5 year determine the success of a quality in the role that we do? And I'm saying this all important because there's a cost that we have paid for this. And for that cost, it becomes even more important that we start something new. Quality is still not a function to sit in a boardroom, right? If it is not, then what is our identity? What our identity is that we have been shaking the organization and moving to a next level of a transformation. And that
You
is
will.
something that is the future, right? I'm not talking about skills. We are talking about skills. I'm not talking about roles, definitions, right? There's a lot to do, right? The black box phenomena spoke about a lot to do in terms of technology, non-technology, data, right? All of things will happen. But the only thing is owning up the business problem, commitment, and taking up an initiative. That's something which differentiate, right? Leadership want an execution skill. They don't want a framework, right? Framework is the way to execute, right? Don't just stop at creating a framework given to operations. Sir, I have done my work, right? I created a framework given. Go beyond, right? Execute, get it executed, right? And probably there are lot of alternate skills come in, the teamwork come in, right? So I think that's my thought. Sorry, Balaji, I stopped you.
No, no, very deep.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah. That's cool. Commitment and execution. So that is, how do you get a person's commitment, and then how do you help that person, not just motivate or tell them to go to the job, but also take it to a logical conclusion. I think that
hmm.
makes a lot of sense.
Okay, we are
Yeah,
almost at
Anshuman.
the end
Our,
of the show.
yeah,
Yeah,
but our favorite question.
yeah. I will try and sneak in two favorite questions, Praveen.
Okay, cool.
So, and I'll ask them together so that you can quickly time it such that we can also end this thing. The one, of course, is that what advice would you give to someone young who's getting into a career in quality, right? Assuming, of course, let's say the young Praveen 25 years ago, or around that time when you were getting into quality, if you wanted some advice, what is that advice? And I think the last one, which Balaji hinted at, is that the any books or references or material that you would want
Books.
people to refer. I have expanded that question, Balaji, these days because people sometimes also have other material, including YouTube channels and other things. So it's an open
Oh,
question.
okay.
Whatever else you may want to recommend to our audience, because some of our audience now and later will also be students and youngsters, and of course Balaji and I also look forward to any book that we can um, find. Over to you, Praveen. So,
Sure. So I think the youngsters, they're smart than us. They're more aware. I can only share what has worked for me as an individual, right? And if that apply, probably they can take that forward, right? One, the first 7 years we have spent as in formative years. Stayed at a place, learned, contributed, never worried about what is an increment salary. Definitely the performance we're worried, try to give in our best, right? But the first 7 years is a learning curve, which I think can only happen if you choose your career rightly. Today, there are a lot of choices, right? We never went through psychometric tests to understand whether you want to be a doctor or an engineer, right? The obvious choice we jumped into whether you want to be a doctor or engineer, right? At that point of time, today there's so many alternate courses. Choose wisely. Having chosen wisely, don't take a decision about changing it immediately. Spend time, understand, give some formative years to that, right? Third, choose a role model. I've been moving into journey. If I talk about every aspect that I've spoken about, I know a role model. If we talk about the management, I know Mr. Ratan Shah. I talk about go to the ground, right? Mr. Nagraju. If I talk about the recognition, I know there's Rakesh Rajora, right? For every aspect, if talk about sales excellence, in fact, Motilal ji himself, where he stood along and kind of crafted along the kind of thing. So find out a role model, right? And obviously the things will come in shape. There's a left brain, right brain, the balance which is there. But most important, choose wisely, give formative years, find out a role model. The journey will become easy. Don't panic. Don't be anxious about it, right? The life is good. The thing, there are good things which has been identified for you, right? The 2 years or 5 years is not a world, right? Be patient, given your best, and I think there's a lot to be accomplished. And so that's something which I would say to the young people, right? And the last, in terms of in books, one is look at a book which is for your domain first. Don't try to jump into the quality books, but first look at mastering. If you're in a sales, like I would say, there is the book called Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. Look at that, right? Then look at how having first mastered the domain that you are, because unless until you don't you know the domain, you cannot apply any quality principle. While quality principle will help accelerate the learning, right? But the first look at what you do, what's your core role. The second book that I would talk about is there's a book on quality planning and analysis, which Dr. Juran had written, and I'm sure Balaji and Anshuman sir would remember that, right? The book which is a Bible for us. Every page still I read today, right? It gives me new insight, and then I look back, what am I doing? I'm not even doing the half of what is written into that. While there are a larger version of that, which is the quality handbook by Duran, right? So if you are in a hurry, you want a quick book, right? Which you want to some quick tricks in terms of application. There's a book called the Decision Tree by, if I remember, it is Michael Progress and Roman. So it's a very short book, right? It talks about how well you can use the matrices. That everything it talks about is 2x2 or 3x3 matrix. If you try to put every of your scenario, let's say high, medium, low on an XY scale, how can you solve the problem? How can you prioritize? How can you apply the Pareto principle around that, right? So beautiful book, right? And if you are into the IT industry, right, look at Implementing Lean Software Development by Mary and Tom. So it's again a very beautiful book which demystify the concepts of a lean for a software industry. So you can later look at Scrum, or you can look at Agile kind of a thing. But then you'll find a close match with that book, the beautifully that the book has actually laid down. I think some of the books like which I appreciate. So
Fantastic. That just like a quality professional, we've ended right on time, Praveen. So it is my duty on behalf of Qimpro Foundation, Balaji and I, to thank you for your wonderful generosity. Of course, first of all, agreeing to come on the show and then sharing so many stories, anecdotes, and lessons and your wisdom over multiple industries. I think, Balaji, you will agree that, we are getting somebody to talk about multiple industries after some time, right? So there are, you can see
Yes.
manufacturing, you can see surveys, you can now see education. So that is of course a lesson in itself for all quality professionals, that if you have learned the principles right, you can apply it across industries and sector. And Praveen is example of that. And I would request anybody watching the show now, or has will later as well, please do follow Praveen. He shares some wonderful insights on LinkedIn as well. So that will also help you to remain in touch with him. So with that, I would like to close the show. But Balaji, any closing remarks from you?
Well, yeah, I mean, the moment I heard him, I heard Praveen say that he came from engineering background doing HR, and, because there's this big myth that surrounds people that HR people have nothing to do with quality. So I just said that when I started speaking to him, also that when I walk into a class, especially when I teach the HR specialization, and I tell them, if you think that this subject has nothing to do with you, please think again. And I think
Yeah,
that the greatest evidence here is right here in front of us. And he's shown us
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And it's you have the quality people, you need quality processes, you need quality systems. So it begins with people. It's the people who build the processes and the systems. The people are a part of the processes and the systems. So I think it showed through all of his anecdotes and interaction that it all begins. Anshuman, you and I have been so, and we have been little lighter, right? Dealing with machines and tools. And here you are with a person who's dealt with the most variable of them all. So thank you very much for your insights. And I'm sure that there are many people who would go back and listen to this recording, and you will get a lot of either the requests or questions. I'm quite sure that many questions are lined up too. So thank you very, very much. It was a wonderful interaction. And yeah, I think we could close the show. I mean, of course, for those who are there, Quimpro TV, etc., you could go there and see a recording of this and see all of our previous recordings also.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Anyway, yeah.
Thank you, Balaji, and for that reminder as well, and a good summary. Pravinji, on behalf of the foundation, thank you very much, and we will end the show with the thanks to all the people who were able to join, and also the people who will watch this later. Thank you very much.
Right.
Till the next time,
thank you everyone.
all the best. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.